Clock is ticking, it's our time. Feet on fire, hearts ablaze. Let's rewrite the game, change the pace. The crowd roars louder, a rising tide. No more sidelines, it's our right.
Welcome to Off the Bench with RASI Sports. My name is Ronald Brown, and I'm here with my co-host Ron Brown, Coach T, and also special guest Coach Kelly. And today we're going to be talking about one of these viral memes or posts that's been going around the internet, and it's going to. It was saying, "Stop saying you develop players when you only invest in the ones who already look like stars." How do you guys feel about that? You guys think that's kind of a very crazy statement?
Well, yeah. with the state of the basketball, I guess, world today, I know for a bunch of years people were complaining about AAU, and then they, now the new I guess the new thing is the transfer portal or the NIL thing. So I think there's a lot of different factors that go into why people get into the whole not really recruiting, but selecting versus developing game.
Okay. All right. Well, so why do you? Okay, go ahead.
Well, hold on, brother. Let's get this going. Because when I hear a statement like that, and maybe Coach Ramses could actually, relate to this a little bit. But when I hear statements like that, there's a lot of trainers / coaches in the youth development. We're not even going to talk about college and stuff like that. We're going to keep it with the youth. You know what I mean? Because keeping it at that high level is a different story and a different beast and altogether, in my opinion. But, I can go back to where, I have a kid from second, third, fourth grade and trained him up with all the proper fundamentals of the game. And, my belief, if a kid can learn the foundation and get a strong foundation of the game, he could go to any trainer to actually, master those things. Okay. So where you hear and you see like that post that we just seen earlier, where people are taking credit for others, I think some people OD with it instead of just saying, I helped this kid master this or, get better at that. They are just taking all the credit for somebody else's blood and sweat as well. Like for me, for instance, when I raised up my kids, I had Coach Ramsey dealing with them. I had another coach, Iron. I had another coach, TUT, you know what I mean? Everybody worked with them, a lot of different people. So for you to go walking around and say, yo, I had Isaiah and I made him who he is today, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Man, so, it's a lot that goes into that, man, because for one, let's rewind some more. For one, there's too many guys training. And there's no real qualifications. There's no stamp of approval that says that, okay, this guy's official. Right? So that's half the problem. Because if you're going to school, you're going to get a degree from Kelly University, from Brown University. Then they say that's too legit. Nothing like that in basketball. I'm Impossible. Micah tried it, and what's the name is trying in LA where they're putting their stamp on. They're putting their stamp on people. Okay, that's fine, but that's how many hours of training. That's not like months and years and years and years and years of learning and growth, and then being under this coach, and then playing the game, and being under this coach, and then watching, and then so it's a whole lot that goes into this. And the fact that people now go fast forward are saying, well, yeah, I developed this kid and then taking all the credit, it really doesn't make any sense because that old adage, it takes a village, it takes a village. It's not it's rare that you see one guy with one trainer from fifth grade to 12th grade. That's very rare, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And not people are cheap anyway, so they ain't paying for nothing anyway. But so it's like that's another story. But that's very rare to see a kid go from one trainer to stay consistent from one guy, one guy, one guy, one guy, all the way to college. That's just right now. That's
Right. I
very
mean, cause I tell you straight up. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm a professional trainer or anything, but I'm gonna say I'm the one who put the stamp on my kids, bro. At the end of the day, but I'm kind of joking when I say that. But I'm just saying, like, how can you sit there and say that you put in, you made my kid who they are when I'm their first teacher?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You know, I think that gets into that's a lesson in ego. You know, I think you have people who they want to make a name for themselves. So the easy way is to, ooh, I'm a lie, and say I helped develop this kid to help me get some credibility. And unfortunately, they don't realize what people see through that kind of stuff. And then you just wind up looking like foolish.
yeah, that's big facts, and that's we got doing stuff for the likes, doing stuff for the videos, doing stuff for this, and that whole all of it plays a part because everybody want to get their shine on.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, that ain't the case. The case is that this kid worked. This kid might have went to this person for shooting. They might have went to this person for ball handling or whatever the case may be, or they stayed for you for 2 years, and then they moved on, and then they did this and they did that. I'm just like for me, I'm just happy that I was able to touch the kid, and he could say, "Yeah, I know Coach Kelly. He cool, and he did right by me." And that's the that's when you get the praise, and that's it. Like at the end of the day, most kids are going to go to more than one trainer because then you think about it too. What happened to the high school coach? Like what happened to that guy?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if they got a good high school coach, the high school coach is going to put some work into him too. So
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
everybody's open though.
Yeah, and
All right.
then and if people just think it out, yeah, it's impossible. Like you're saying, it's impossible to be one kid, the entire way. They
Yeah.
got, youth coaches, they got, the middle school coach, they got the rec ball coach. So they're gonna run into a whole bunch of different influence. So yeah,
Yeah. So that's why it's not just one influence. There's more than one. There's about five or six. You have to get it from somewhere else also. All right. So this post, it really shook up the internet, especially the coaching world. When you hear the phrase "you're not developing, you're selecting," what does that mean to you? And where do you see this happening the most? Youth ball, high school, AU, or college? Where do you guys kind of see
I'm a okay. I'm gonna jump in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna say it's happening at all levels, and the way I've seen it happen at all levels is like we all collectively know young Jada. Now if you pick a young Jada on your team, or you recruit her on your team, and you're looking for her to carry your team, even though you haven't helped get these other kids. You haven't taught them how to catch. You haven't taught anybody how to jump, shoot. You ain't taught anybody anything. But you have some type of connection with somebody on the side, who can help you get her on your team. So you go out there and campaign like a politician. You don't go out and knock on doors and build relationships, from the ground up. I think that's your difference between your developers and your selectors.
that?
Well, so how I take that question is that, you know, so for me, looking at the youth basketball in high school, and the most that where it's happening is not just travel basketball at the elite level. Well, all levels really. I mean, in the basketball, in the travel basketball world, but also high school nowadays, because you have the local high schools who are now, where, because now of the NIL, they are, if I'm, and coach, you could probably correct me with this, Coach Ramses, but like, if I'm not mistaken, kids are able to transfer to different zones, I believe, right? Just to play for a certain high school.
As long as their
And
parents are in that county, yeah. If it's a
yep, in
public
that
school,
county. And this is the state of Florida we're talking about. Right.
yeah.
So you have travel coaches who want their kids in Florida to move to their schools. You know what I mean? And that happens a lot. So so far as them developing them, you know, I don't know. That's a hard one for me to kind of put out there, which way it's going at. But there's a lot of guys just going after just the high major kids just because their program is a strong program.
Mm,
And I mean, you don't see a lot of developing happening. So I don't know. How do you
okay.
feel about that, Coach?
Well, like you said, it's basically it's been going on forever, and it's going on at every level. So I don't see it. What I see is that people want to win. So
Right,
they are taking, if Ron Brown is nice, he plays at Kelly University, they going to get him. Period. And that's going down from fifth grade, fourth grade. It's the same thing. You got guys calling people, recruiting kids in third grade, fourth grade. So it's going on at every level. It's just the higher you go, the more money it is.
Mm,
The more
right,
money, more the bag is bigger, and it is what it is. That's because the bottom line is everybody want to win. So it's going
right,
on. It's just a matter of it's a matter of how much money and who's in control of the money. Is it a sneaker company? Is it a car dealership? Is it whatever the business is? Who's in control of the money?
right. Because a lot of people don't realize that some of these high schools are actually sponsored by Nike.
yep.
There are some schools that are Nike schools. I'm not going to call the names out of the schools, but there are some schools that are sponsored by them. And I mean, they just getting all the players
Yeah,
year
and
in,
that
year out.
that the thing is again that's been going on forever. That's been going on forever. So again, it's the talent is going to go not unfortunately, but talent's going to go to where you're getting the exposure, to you getting the light, the shine, the light. So these kids are going to go there, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. There's nothing you can do about it. It's been happening. It's been happening forever. It started in the
Yeah.
street. It started in the street with whatever the hustler was making the money in the hood back in the day. And now corporate America has decided to want to jump in,
Mhm.
and it is what it is. Like that, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
But the crazy thing is though, Coach, like, so we I'm not, again, I'm gonna keep the names out, but there's schools where these kids are going to these schools and they're not being developed though, man. They get to that next level, then we talk about college. The kids, if they were getting developed at these Nike schools or these big schools, they'll be better off when they go to college, and then they get lost in the transition because of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you got to look at this too, though. Like, so this is the farm system. So at the end of the day, whose fault is that? Like, is it the coach's fault? or is it the kids for? I tell kids, you need to use them. You need to use them as much as they're using you. So if that coach wants you for a W, guess what? I'm using that school as a resource. Even in high school, it doesn't matter. High school, college, I'm using every teacher. I'm using every library. I'm using everything possible to get my side correct, so that when I leave this place, I'm a better person. Not just basketball, but just totally. And so that's whose fault is that? Like it's almost like, not we all, people of color over here, but like the slave master here. Like who's in control? Like you shouldn't let that coach or that school, just because they got a Nike deal or they got this deal, they got that deal. You should you shouldn't let that coach dictate what kind of player you are. Now, in some situations, it's nothing you could do about it because the coach has all the power. You could be killing in practice. Yeah, okay, that's another story. But then you need to go on up like, I'm getting this education. I'm making sure I'm getting my reps up. So when I get my chance, it's no turning back. So, you could put the fault in a lot of people, but the bottom line is like, you a kid and you at a university X and you trying to get better. You gotta your whole spirit, mind, and body gotta be right. Your body on the ball court, your mind, your body, everything, and then they can't take advantage of you. So
Mhm.
I'm saying that's a
So
tough one, man.
the real answer is it's up to the athlete,
Yes.
Yeah.
because as an athlete, you have to understand that you may have more information about the game than your parents do,
Yeah.
because you've been to more practices, you've been engaged in more games, so you're gonna have a little more knowledge. So with that being, kids have to really take what their favorite players are saying to heart. If Kobe Bryant says you have to be the first one in the gym and you have to hit so many free throws and all this, and he talks about the amount of hours that he puts in, the amount of shots he gets up, the amount of reps. Yeah, he talks about that kind of stuff. And nobody really hones in on what these athletes are talking about when they're talking about putting in that extra work to make it to that extra level. Because
Mhm.
yeah, if your parents can't get you to practice, guess what? There's a bus. There's electric scooters and all this type of stuff you can rent nowadays to get where you need to get. And unfortunately, your parents may not understand, your the best path that you may need to take to get to college. But if
Mhm.
you're talking to guidance counselors and they're showing you how basketball can possibly pay for your college, hey, guess what? That's the road, and those are decisions that you have to start making early. It's just being disciplined and thinking forward.
Definitely gave us a good insight on that question. So I'm gonna get to the next thing. This is the finished product myth. Everybody wants the kids who's ready. Let's talk about the kids who aren't. Why do some programs avoid developing raw kids, instead chase the polished ones? I know that's winning, but you guys got another answer for that?
Yes, nobody wants the YMCA Bad News Bears team. That's
That's
just
right.
the bottom line. Nobody
Right.
wants that team. But what I can say, by being someone who's just accepted those teams, you actually become a better coach. you know because now you start to use creativity to reach said kid, or to get this kid to understand what you need them to do to get the skill that you're trying to give them. So if you are not intellectually lazy, then yeah, you can take a bad news bear team, develop them, and start producing wins. And if you don't get the wins, what's going to happen is the growth that you see from the kids, that will actually become your reward. And if you don't look at the money and you look at the development, because my coaching philosophy is make the coaching job easier for the next coach. So if I need to get your basketball IQ up, if I need to get you to learn how to keep 10 toe or 10 fingers to the sky to learn how to catch, I need to paint the picture in your head to get you to bite. So
I mean, that sounds great, Coach. I don't mean to cut you off, my brother. That sounds great, right? But that's not the reality of it. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Now, the reason why I see it is that, you know, yeah, winning, but also these coaches, it's still a job unless you're doing it for a unless you're doing it for volunteer work, you know what I mean?
mhm,
Which is usually at the lesser grade level, you know what I mean? But
mhm.
when you're in high school, you know what I'm saying? Your job is on the line. These schools, they want to win.
I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying? So yeah, I know outside of winning it was the question, right? But honestly, that's a tough question, brother, because you tell me any school out there that's just going to take anybody out there and just play. Now, coach, you coach in high school right now. Am I speaking something that's false here or what? I mean, you know,
Listen, man,
you got to win.
you got to win. At the end of the day, you got to win. And you're not taking this. Is listen, it's a lot. It's I don't like it's politics and some stuff, but at the end of the day, you're getting a W. So yeah, what you was saying, coach. That's is to a certain point. But yeah, Ron, you right, man. You gotta get the W's, and as high you go, there's more pressure, and it's
Mhm,
more money. There's more of this, more of that. Like my guys have gotten fired from D1 schools, and most of them now that were head coaches are assistant coaches. They still making money, but there's still pressure, and at the end of the day, the finished product is always going to come. That's always going to be a finished product that they're going to take before this YMCA kid, whatever.
mhm.
They're going to take that kid because it's just easier. I don't have to coach you
Yeah.
as much. I'm not calling out. I'm not calling out help, 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 help. The kid that already know, he's just going to slide. He's going to sprint down and be at the help spot already. So it's
Mhm,
man, you gotta at the end of the day, this is all about production. You gotta win. And the kids that's already developed, which is another subject of the transfer portal and kids, the top, they're getting all the kids that are averaging a certain amount of points and they
Crazy thing
getting
is, that's
the
not even just high school. I mean, college. That's high school too, though, coach.
It's
saying
everywhere at this point in middle school.
it's all the same. No matter where you go,
mhm.
you're gonna take the finished product because you don't have the time to invest in these kids like back in the day. There's no time for that. There's no time for develop. So the cream of the crop, they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there, and those kids are gonna go through those programs, and those coaches are gonna win. Now, if that coach is smart, if that coach, first of all, if they already old school, already like a Patino, you know, they already got all the gift and the gab, so they could tell they're gonna get the cream of the crop.
Mhm.
They're gonna get that.
Right.
And it don't matter like Patino was at Iona. He was still getting dogs. And Iona is mid-level D1. He's still getting dogs. And he was still winning because he knows how to recruit. He knows talent. Some coaches know talent, and some coaches don't. But they got guys. Their assistant coaches are developing and know that the coach knows talent. So
Mm,
they're gonna get the cream. So that's never
mm,
gonna change. It's never gonna change. It could be the pros too. The same thing. NBA is the same thing. It's the same system. It's just now more being exposed with social media.
Yeah,
Right.
I
That's
think
fact.
that
Social media.
I think that acronym CREAM is a little more pertinent than you really believe because I believe it's corporations rule everything around me.
Oh,
Because since
yeah.
these corporations put the money into these sports, that I think that's what's creating this funnel of mediocrity.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
true. This is true.
mm,
Right. It's going up to all the way the school to me. This is
Mhm.
not. It's the same subject, but it's off, but it's on. To me, schools are the new pimp game. There's so many schools. Tomorrow the YMCA's. We kill the YMCA. Damn. My bad.
Ah, what do you mean? I love my YMCA team. We used to kick
Yeah.
butt.
Shout out to the my bad. So listen, there's so many teams. I call it the YMCA on steroids. I really do. There's so many high school teams. There's so many players playing. Like everything is spread out, right? So it's so many. So you're gonna get the bad. You're gonna get bad, and you're gonna get good. Like there's like the middle is like there's not really any middle because those kids that in the middle that are good, they're eventually gonna go to the best teams because they don't want to stay in
Mm,
the middle. So
Mm.
and the worst get worse, and it's like there's so many players playing. There's so many levels. When I first started coaching, it was like 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A. Now it's like 9A or some crap like that. I was like, yo, what is going on? It's like then it's another league. There's a CI double A. There's another Christian league. They got this league. They got. I was like, yo, like really, like that we can't crown a champion because it's not really a champion. And then you go to AAU, there's a championship every weekend. Like
Yeah.
what?
exactly.
So it's like,
Fact.
I get a trophy.
yeah, everybody getting a trophy. That's another subject. So it's like there's so many players playing. There's so many schools. So those kids that are low are gonna go up one. And those parents, they see that. They're like, you know what? Our kid's a little better than this. And those parents have that right. They have that right to move their kid to another school to get a better opportunity. What happens is another subject. What happens is when that parent is disillusioned and they think their kid is better than what they are, and they jump to a bigger school, so they're big
Mm,
fish in a small pond. Now they go to a bigger school, they have small fish, but in a little pond, they got no skill. Then you
mm,
in trouble. And that's when everything starts blowing up. People get mad, parents get mad, but then again, those kids are still gonna go up. Those kids that are good are gonna keep going up and up and up and up.
Mm.
yeah, that led right into my next question. What's the biggest misconception parents have about finished players?
Oh wow.
That
What's the
they're their
biggest
kid.
misconception?
Yeah, parents have about finished players, like the
Yeah.
players.
I think the biggest misconception is that the parents think that their kids are good. That's the big misconception right there.
They're not honest. They're not honest. You gotta be honest. Like at the end of the day, you driving a Hyundai and you pull up to a Rolls Royce, you know your shit is a Hyundai.
Right.
Period. And period. You
Yeah.
look at the Rolls Royce, you're like, yo,
Well,
that
see,
is that car is
I,
nice.
I
And
feel you,
you
right? But see,
Yeah,
so you guys know how I am, man. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I have a Hyundai, but I tune it up. You know what I mean? Like so I I I I like I like adversity. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna bring that up. I'm gonna bring that up. And the reason why I say that is that, you know, again, I like me being a parent. Right? I'm gonna take the coaching aspect out of it, right? The question is, I think my kids are good, right? But like you said, Coach Rams, it's like I'm also a realist. I'm real with my kids, right? Because I also tell them that there's somebody out there that's better than you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that means you got to keep working, right? So you got to keep putting that time in and getting better, right? Yeah, we starting out as a Hyundai, but as I keep developing, as we keep going to different people to help them out, get better and better and better. At the end of the day, that Hyundai is going to be that souped up Hyundai. You see what I'm saying? Because
that's
we're going to put that work in.
but that's true, but that's not the same as a view, as honest view of what my product is.
Mhm.
If you're continuously working on your Hyundai and you putting in an extra jump shot, you putting in supercharged engine, you putting extra miles, you putting extra tire tread.
The
You put
suspension
all
and
that in
everything.
the car, and it's making it a better car. That's a different animal than a parent understanding that Johnny is 5'7", can't go left, and a jump shot is broke. There's a big difference.
Facts.
There's a big difference. So like you're like, well, why is my son not playing? Because you're not being honest. You're really not being honest with the product. Again, forget that. You ain't got a Honda, you got a Hugo right now. That's what it is. Like you got there's levels to this, and parents are not honest. They're not honest with themselves, and it's that's tough. That's tough. And then they want to put the blame on the
You
coach.
know, but then we're gonna go back to the beginning of the segment. Like that's I think a lot of parents are getting that. And I know you out there training, so please don't take this as if I'm coming at you because you already know that's not the truth. But there's a lot of trainers souping
Talking
these
about
parents up.
that's true. Again, being honest. Like you gotta be
Oh,
honest. You gotta be straight up honest. You cannot be blowing smoke at these people and because the high school coach is not gonna do it, and the college
Mhm.
coach is not gonna do it. I kid you not. I ain't gonna put no names out. There's a kid at my school that legitimately could play. I had a long ass conversation with him today about grades. His grades are suspect. This dude could play. And he got size. He got size. He could put the ball down. He could play. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Your window is like this right now, my guy. You have no window. You're not Allen Iverson where you could make a mistake. You could make a mistake, go to jail, and now your window's like still like this, but you still got one coach trying to recruit you. Your window is like this because you have zero grades. Like people are not telling these kids that. Like,
Mhm.
oh, what's your goal? I want to go for get to the NBA. My guy, how is that possible when you don't have film? You have zero film because your grades are terrible.
Mm.
Like what are
right.
we doing? Like well, we gotta be honest with these kids, man. Like, be honest. Like let's stop sugarcoating stuff. We're not doing stuff for the likes. You got Julian Newman. We're not doing stuff for the likes. We're not doing stuff for Instagram. We're not doing none of that. This is for the love of basketball. And if you love it, it's gonna come back to you. But if you're honest with your kid, then your Hyundai will turn to a Rolls Royce if the work is put in. Period.
Mm.
Period.
Yeah. All right. So this question I got is what's the risk of labeling kids too early? I know some people get labeled. No, that's a
Oh man. Hey man, listen. I'm gonna be honest. I'm totally 100% against ranking. I'm
mm,
against it because if you have a good PR team, dude, I can make you the number one player in the country. You understand? And make sure you go to the right tournaments, make sure you go to the right camps to always be that guy who shine. You know what I mean? And because I see so many kids, at a very young age, brother. Like I'm talking about a kid in the fifth grade. Oh, he's the best fifth grade. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a true story. I can't call no names because I don't want to get in trouble. But I remember when my kids first started going to, when I first started realizing my kids was actually pretty good, right? You can go to my YouTube page, Team RASI Sports, whatever, and you can look up way back in 2006, I think it was, or seven, something like that. I used to put down with my son AJ the most dominant sixth grader, something like that. I think it was sixth grader or
yeah, it was like kindergartner. It was kindergarten.
yeah, yeah. I used to do that, right? Because I'm a proud dad. I'm like, yo, my boy, and we was at the YMCA. You know what I mean? We were balling, and I was putting that out, and then I met this kid. He was a phenom kid. He was ranked at top eighth grade kid at the time, right? Like I said, I ain't calling no names, but Ron know who I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and he came to this, he came somewhere, and I started watching him play on a daily basis, right? The kid was good,
It was good.
right? Kid was incredibly good, right? But because he was ranked the number one player, right? He was headhunted. Every game he went to, kids were coming at him. Now, don't get me wrong, you want that smoke, and he wanted it, but it wasn't just the smoke he was getting. You know, like the kids was out to really hurt this kid. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And not only just trying to hurt him, I started realizing that he stopped really developing because his head started getting big. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And bless his heart because he was a good kid, great ball player, but he got that where's he now story. You know what I mean? And I see that so much now that these people are putting out these kids, the number one this, the number one that, and he's only been to a couple of camps. You know what I mean? Who did he really play against? Okay, yeah, I mean, you can tell the kid is good and he does this at a high clip and this and that. But if I'm not mistaken, there's other, like four other players on the court. Now, yeah, he might have stood out better than a lot of the rest, but dude, there's another dude out there that's better than him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's not playing on that platform. You see, so stop labeling these kids as being the number one player, bro, because you've given them false hope. So when they get to college, you know what I mean? Everybody was that number one player where they came from. You see? So now he's the number one, but now this kid is number one, this kid number one, this kid number one, and then you get out there and then you realize that, yo, I'm just an average kid, just like everybody else. Now I got to get back to trying to work out, and and I'm not as good as I think I was. And they have a hard time in college, and then what happens? They fall off. You see, now there are some kids out there that just phenoms. Like
Mm-hmm.
okay, we say, I know LeBron. He when he came out, there was nobody like him. So there's
That's
no
true.
doubt you had to say he was that player. You know what I mean? But are there any LeBrons out there right now? No.
Not necessarily. All got everybody has a weakness, something.
Right. So for me, I think that labeling and stuff is a cancer, man, because it's giving kids false hope. Schools are breaking their neck, breaking rules and doing all these crazy things to get these kids there for a W, which I get it, you gotta win, right? But you're hurting the kid at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because he's not going to be able to make it to the league if he wants to get there, if that's what he wants to do, because he has a whole bunch of false hope. And that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There was something was floating around. I forgot what team it was. It wasn't Jalen Suggs. It was one of the other somebody like that. They were talking about his high school, like his AAU team rather. And it was like, where are they now? Same thing. Where are they now? And like one team made it, and everybody else is in college, still like trying to make it. And then what you're saying, like the team was like ranked number one, but then the players didn't develop to like that, like number one type A type play, 1A type players. So it happens a lot, man. It happens
Mm-hmm.
often. Like, it's just that's why the NBA is littered with guys that, there's some guys that were 1As, and then you got guys on the end of the bench that wasn't a 1A, and you got mid-major guys that's in the middle that's getting that mid-level contract. You're like, yo, where's this guy from? And you're like, who is
Mm-hmm.
this? Like, where's he? What school did he go to? And they just consistently kept working, working, working,
Yep.
working, working, and they became good players. So that's it's what it is. Yeah, there's the rankings. The rankings are definitely there. There for some people, you need a system. You need a system of ranking. But then again, Just like when I was talking about the schools, now there's so many different ranking systems now. Like what?
Right.
Like, back
Oversaturated.
when I played, it was Tom Konchowski. He was the head guru. You went to 5-star. Okay, that was that. ABCD, that was that. Now, every again, like the trainers, everybody's an expert. You got a platform. Oh well, I'm Rams Kelly, and I think that Ron Brown's the best player in the nation. Amen. Like, come on, there's so many. It's like it's again, you don't have the credentials. I'm sorry, like there's not enough credentials to say this guy's number one, this guy's number one. So in effect, you're right. It's so many rankings that the parent sees that. Again, going back, they're not being honest. Like, yo, my son is number 3 in the nation, and he's like, nah. I seen 20 players better than him, and then you got to tell him, son. I seen Joe, I seen Susie, I seen Paul. That was nice seeing you. Let's go to the gym. 5 a.m. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not happening because again, the rankings are killing them. You're right. I agree. I agree.
But I will say this: the rankings are giving them the high NIL deals, though.
You want money, yeah? You want to be ranked high.
So praise God to that.
Nah, you rank the more money.
I'm sorry, man. That was a bad joke.
Just like earlier when you said there was to coach, there's no degree, there's no program that you have to go through. And I guess it would be the same thing with what we're talking about here. Because sorry, let me rewind. In that conversation, what came up again is players have to be accountable for themselves. Parents do have to be honest. But if they don't know the game, if they don't understand how you evaluate talent, do you think it's advantageous to create some type of like evaluating checklist? You know what I mean? Like if you want to know if your kid is good, look at this list. Can he use his left hand? Can he use his right hand? Can he make a layup? Can he get up and down the court in 12 seconds? And if your kid can do, if your kid can hit most of the things on this checklist, he might be decent. Not good, but he just might be decent.
Yeah, you're right. They have that list. They have the junior NBA. They have like a tracking list like that in their curriculum, and they put that out there. Can he do this? Can he do a spin move between the legs? Do all this stuff? Can he do all this stuff? The problem is now kids can do that stuff, but now is another subject. But now IQ comes into play.
Right.
5 people in the court, and can you actually now play with the other 4 people without the ball in your hand? So, kids. You're right. We got that checklist has to happen for parents, and then we have to say, can my son or daughter be effective on the court with 4 other people? Can they defend? Can they slide their feet? Can they stop? Can they stay in front of somebody? Holy moly! Can we just play some damn defense? Like, what, we can't play zone. Sorry, can't do it. Not gonna win. Not with a shot clock. Not gonna do it. So you're right. There's a lot of factors that go into that ranking system, and it's bad for the game. It's good for the game. We gotta have some type of ranking. But again, it's too many rankings. There's too many sites. There's too many of everything. It's too much. Too much. We get basketball. We get overblown with basketball, and then it affects us from the top to bottom because different subject. You look at the NBA, all the international players, like the last 6 or something like that, 5 or 6, they haven't been born in America. That tells you a lot. That tells you a lot about development, rankings. Like that tells you a lot.
yeah, that I know we got to move forward, but like that's scary because those guys are disciplined and being developed at a young age too. You know what I mean? A
Mm,
lot of them, as you know, are starting professional ball at 15, 16 years of age.
Yeah.
mm.
You know? So yeah, I mean, we behind the eight ball. We definitely
Yeah,
behind the
that's
eight ball.
what.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
speaking to that scary part of the subject, one thing that I was trying to get it out because you mentioned this earlier, Coach Ramps, is how I guess the way it correlated with how coaching doesn't have a degree, neither does all these podcasts and all the people trying to chase a little podcast money to give their quote unquote opinions. So yeah, that's another piece of the gauntlet. I guess that's whacking people's heads off. Because
Mm,
yeah, if I get paid to give my opinion online, yeah, of course I got opinions for days because I'm trying to get paid, whether they right, wrong, or not. I just need to get these opinions out, and if I got enough people to follow and watch, yeah, then my word has some credence.
mm,
Facts. It's
yeah.
true.
All right,
So
so I'm gonna jump back into the development part a little bit. What does that so every program has that one kid who hasn't figured it out yet but could. What does what does that quiet unsure kid actually need from a coach? It's a coaching perspective. Yeah.
well, I would, a lot of coaches don't like to separate their teams in practice. But I would take the time to separate that kid, maybe do a couple of drills that are to isolate something that I see that they need. If I feel like they need, help learning how to catch, okay, well, I'm gonna have them sprint down the floor, and then I'll have five or six different people passing the basketball to them, and then there's catch it and go, catch it and go, catch it and go, like an extreme, like an extreme type of learning or teaching situation. But like I said, but a lot of people don't like splitting up their practices, from like the advanced kids to the greens, you know. So
So
if you don't mind that, then I think that's where you can help.
I'm gonna tease Coach Ramses for a minute. Um, I got a lot of love for you, Coach. So um, I don't know if you remember this, Coach, but you remember me giving you a call about something that you had posted. You had posted a video of a player that had like crazy talent, and then there was one
Mhm.
kid that just really couldn't make a layup. Do you remember
Mhm.
that?
Yeah.
And I called you and I was like, "Hey, Coach, you know, this is some time back, and I know you was trying to I'm not sure what you were doing, but it was more like on an advertisement type thing. And I was like, hey man, if you want people to try to see what you're doing, you might want to pick all the kids that are really making the layups so they know
Mhm.
that you're doing what you're doing. And you came back at me. It's like, you know what, Ron? I hear you, right? He said, but I also want people to understand that you know, you have the good and you have these kind of kids, but those kids are actually going to get better if they're playing with those other kids and practicing. So to kind of answer that question, that's a good philosophy that you had, Coach, because you know some people might look at it as taking away from the kid that is actually good. You know what I mean? Being able to go left, make shots, left hand layup, right hand layups, and stuff like that. But if that kid who's quiet and don't have the confidence enough to do it, practicing with that guy, he's
Mm,
taking something away from him to get better. You understand? So yeah, separation is not a bad thing, but also having them practice with them too can actually see and go up against so that way they can actually try to emulate what that kid is doing. You see what I'm saying? Now, again, to address the part where it's taken away from the kid that is actually doing better, that's where you go to another session with Coach Ramses again and get more work. You know what I mean? So you can get that fast paced, high level training. But as far as in the group and you got that quiet kid, yeah, keep him in there so he can see how it's supposed to be really done from someone, who's actually good at it. You see what I'm saying? To help build his confidence. And then that's where good trainers will go up to them. It's like, hey, and give him that reassurance that he can do it. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you want to separate them at times, but there's nothing wrong with keeping them together with those high level players, you know what I mean, for a certain amount of time to to build confidence in them to see how it's done.
I I hear you when you're saying keep them with them, but I've seen where you'll keep them with them, and then that's the one kid that's not getting the ball passed to him. So so now
Yeah,
they
but
start feeling like they
we
out there
talking
on the
about
island.
like we're not talking about the 5-on-5 passes and stuff, games. We're talking about actually developing,
Right, right.
you know what I mean, going through drills and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Now that 5-on-5, yeah, that's gonna happen because the kid that can go, he's competitive. He ain't gonna want to
There
pass it
you
to the
go.
dude who
Right,
can't catch the ball.
right.
You know what I mean?
You recognize
So
the personnel.
right, exactly. So, but we talking about drill sake, you know what I mean, and development, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, that's how I look at it, and I learned, like I said, I understand that, and that's something I got from Coach Ramsey from a brief conversation him and I had.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, did I take
Yeah,
your answer, Coach?
Nah, that was good. Next one, go on. Yeah, that was
all
good.
right. So what's your approach when a kid has desire but not the foundation yet?
Mm.
To you, Coach
Like,
Ramses. Let's go.
What's the say it again?
What's your approach when a kid has the desire but not the foundation yet?
Well, you gotta no foundation. You gotta start. You gotta go to the basics. So if the kid is raw, there's a lot of raw kids out there, a lot of raw talent. You gotta teach them fundamentals. Like, there's no way you're gonna play at any high level, go from middle school to high school and high school to college and be successful without the fundamentals of basketball. And it's not the fundamentals are not changing; they're just evolving. So you got to teach these kids the just straight fundamentals. Because I give you a perfect example. A kid that's raw will come in the gym. That come in the gym and start shooting threes immediately. Like, immediately. Like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you gotta work on your form. You should be around the basket, like taking at least 100 shots before you even go outside. So you say that, you walk away, right? You go back, they still at the 3-point line. Like, what I just told you. So they're raw because they don't understand. We don't understand fundamentally. This way I gotta be to be a great shooter.
hmm
They don't understand that. So you're going to get these raw kids, and you just got to keep instilling and teaching them the fundamentals of the game. Like, why are you doing certain things? I'm dribbling with a shoulder down for this reason. My elbow is here for this reason. My follow through is always here for this reason. Like, you have to legitimately explain to them the why you doing stuff, the why of why you're doing it, and then hopefully they figure it out.
hmm
But until then, they're gonna stay raw until they understand that there's a why to everything, and that raw kid will develop when he answers that question to his why.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah.
definitely
I would answer that question with you just have to be truthful. You sure a kid could be athletic, he can have like a skill or two that's impressive, but if you don't have the basketball IQ, if sure you may be able to jump out the gym, but if you don't have vision to see your teammate underneath the basket, all alone, there's things that need to be worked on. And I just tell them, hey, listen, as good as you are, you ain't getting paid, and there's a lot of holes in your game. I'm not here to try to beat you up and make you feel bad, but I just want to keep it real with you because I don't want you to go out here thinking, you Michael Jordan and you go out here playing like Limp Bizkit.
all right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So real development is really messy. Let's talk about that side. one thing I would ask is, what are the signs that a kid is worth long-term investment?
Well, I think there's things that we sometimes overlook in kids. And if we would not overlook these different things, then we can actually help these kids. Like if there's a kid who's, you tell them 4 or 5 times, don't walk through the drill. Don't walk through the drill. Some people say that hard-headed and stubborn are opposite of persistence. You know what I mean? So if the kid understands what they're doing, then we can meet somewhere in the middle. We can make sense. But if they can't, then you have to be able to reason. You have to be able to be open to accepting the fact that you are not that great, or that you do have room for improvement. Rather, nobody's game is that good.
Okay.
Oh, did you answer the question?
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I went somewhere else.
Yeah, you might have fell for that. I ain't touching that one.
Okay.
Question again, okay?
All right, so I'm gonna get to the next one. Some kids, it's funny. Some kids don't peak at 12, 14, or 16, and that's completely normal. Why do late bloomers often get overlooked in today's basketball culture?
Wow, that's a good one. A lot of kids get overlooked because they're young and they're not ready. They haven't hit their peak yet. It's a lot of reasons why, but a lot of kids are just they're just figuring it out. They're growing into their body. They're young.
Mm,
So it's a lot of reasons why there's late bloomers, you know, in basketball and all sports. This happens a lot. If football happens a lot too. A lot happens a lot in football, but it's a lot of reasons, man. It could be with the wrong school. It could be with the wrong coach. Then one coach gives this kid the green light, and all of a sudden, this kid is like the best shooter since sliced bread. Like, it's a lot of reasons, man. The kids could be young. He could be with the wrong team.
mm,
Right.
Not like you just said they're not getting a rock. It's a lot of reasons. And it's fit, and then it's the development. It's the fit and the development, because there's nothing wrong with going to another team. If this team is not doing right by you and that fit is not there, you're not developing, then you should move. You should go. But then we keep saying this word. You got to be honest. Like, yo, am I not getting the ball because I'm a bum? Like this, I'm not getting the ball because I'm open, or I'm open because of availability. Like, I have to be open because they double teaming the best player, and now I'm not knocking down shots. So, like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of reasons why there's late bloomers, but
mm,
the bottom line is a lot of kids are young. Number one, a lot of kids are in the wrong system, and they have to get out of that system. And then maturity comes into a play where a kid might not be as mature as another kid. So, they 12, 13, 14, whatever. I was talking to some kids today. They were talking about college. Like, these kids are 18. I was a sophomore at 18. I was a sophomore at 18, turning 19. Like, so it's age is a factor. How you grew up could be a factor. It's a lot of factors in this, man. Like, it's just every kid is different, and you got to treat every case individually, and so that way, these kids have a chance to develop. So you see something, you keep working with the kid. If they keep coming back to you, and you see a kid talking about, coach, I want to stay. Coach, I want to do this. Coach, I want to do that. Help me do this. You don't get a lot of kids that are doing that nowadays, but you get a kid that's doing that. That kid's going that, and you see he got some talent. You see he got athletic ability. You see, he's handling the ball. You see He has vision, you got core, IQ. You see all these things as a coach, you can evaluate talent. Then you're gonna keep working with the kid, and then that's like, oh my God, this kid made it, like woo! And it's like, it's a blessing to have a kid like that. And he blossoms into a rose. That's awesome, you know.
Mm,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I
yeah.
agree.
Sometimes with your late bloomers, yeah, you may have them with like a couple of bad coaches here or there who they didn't really understand, the communication style to coach. He get
Yeah,
with the new coach, and now, oh, I understand what he's talking about. Oh, that's what that coach is talking about. Then bells and things start clicking. But
yeah. I
sometimes it's the messenger. Hmm.
That's true.
mm,
Yeah, I said that today. Like, don't listen to my voice. Don't listen to the tone. Listen to the message. Like, understand what I'm trying to tell you. Like I had a girl today trying to shoot like deep. I'm like, girl, like I need you to shoot these 15-foot jump shots first. I need you to make 1,000 of these first. Then you can shoot these threes. Don't take it personal. I need to see you making it in practice. So,
mm,
these kids, they late developers, late bloomers. It's a reason, man. Some kids they take it at their personality. They might be like introverted and they can't communicate with the coach. It's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot. And they finally
mm,
start maturing, finally start growing up. Then they, like you just said, they start hearing it differently. Their message is different. It's the same message, but they're just hearing it different.
Right.
And they hear it, and then oh snap, and then it starts clicking. Then all of a sudden they get a growth spurt. All of a sudden, this kid is dunking, and like, damn, where was he last year? And then it's
mm.
it's off to the races.
Right. And then you're gonna have all the selector coaches trying to woo
Right. Yeah.
'em.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's gonna happen. That's inevitable. That's what's gonna happen. Unless you got a bag for him.
There you go.
Unless you got a bag for him. I'm just saying. Unless you take him to the practice every day, his mom ain't picking him up. You picking him up, and I'm just saying, you got McDonald's and you got the bag for him in the bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. But
All
yeah.
right. Yeah, we're gonna give something about for parents here. What should parents look for to know if their child is still developing normally? Because I know some of them get nervous. They're like, "Well, my child's not getting great, getting better." I don't know. Is it?
You know, like I know Coach Gene last week talked about it, Coach Nemo talked about it. And hey, I think that answer is film. Film, film, film. Show them some film. Get them in the film room. This is what you were doing wrong. This is what we did right. It's here in real time. You can't deny it because the videos don't lie.
They do it
So, I
online.
mean, so and then this way understanding can happen. People understand when you see yourself in the game, your mind transports you back into the game and into that situation. And now if you can be in that situation in a learning environment where you can use hindsight, to your advantage, then yeah, that's how growth can happen. Growth starts with honesty.
what was that? What was that question again?
The question
I
would
want to
be,
make sure I got my thoughts right.
what should parents look for to know if their child is developing normally?
Right. What they should look for if they okay. You know, that's a very hard one for me because sometimes, you know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, coach, for even saying this, but there are kids out there that no matter what they do, watch film, practice, run, they just don't have it.
Mm,
You understand? And that's a hard reality a lot of parents don't get. You understand? And
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
as a trainer, as a coach, we don't want to try to, turn no kid down. I just can't do that ever, right? But, you know, with how competitive this sport is and how demanding it can be to maybe the word demanding is the wrong word, but like it's so intense. That kid that that really wants it and their parents want it for them that much, but they just don't have the physical attributes for the game. You have to be honest. You have to be honest with that parent and tell them, like, listen, I'll never forget. I had a coach say that to someone before, and I heard him say that, and I was like, wow, you know. But you might have to tell them, basketball might not be for your son or your daughter. You might want to try a different sport. That might sound cold, but it's a harsh reality that is out there. You know what I mean? So there are things watching the film, yeah, all that for the kids that actually have, the ability and the will to get better. But sometimes it's hard to sit there and you know give someone false hope.
Mm.
Yeah.
And again, we're not God, and we're not here to judge, but we are here to give them our honest opinion,
Mm.
Yeah, I
and it's up
agree.
to the parent to prove us wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I agree. I agree. It's hard. That's hard, man, because it's you know, as a parent, you want to see your child succeed, but then you got to ask yourself, are they like they're on the court and there's 10 players on the court. What just be honest with yourself, is your kid keeping up physically with these kids? Like physically. Is he running with the fastest player on the court? Is his shot look like a shot? Again, this honesty thing is real. Like, is he or she when the ball's going up and it's hitting the backboard, are they like timing it correctly, or is they like hitting them in the head? It's like you gotta be honest. Like you see it. Like you can want your child to be great, but you see by again the film. Don't lie, like you said, Coach.
Doesn't never lie.
Yeah, don't lie, and you can see it. Like you could this highlight again. This Instagram highlight tape, boy. Let me tell you, boy. Everybody look like a star on Instagram. Let me tell you. So
Yeah,
that,
highlight tapes.
that tape, that tape has been cut up and chopped and screwed 1,000 times.
Mhm.
So you're not. It's not an Instagram tape. This is real live with no edit, and you got to look at that. You got to look at it and say, hey. Is my son actually is he or daughter competing? Like, are they running, jumping, dribbling, shooting, passing? Does my son have 5 turnovers, the same turnover over and over and over and over? Is he throwing it ahead, or is it too like what is like? You got to be honest. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if you're not being honest, then you're doing your son or daughter disservice, and that's because it's like false hope. Like it's like I want my son to be good, but okay, let's put him on the court with 5 dogs. Is your
Yeah,
son a
facts.
dog
That's
puppy
the
now?
best way to do it.
Your son a puppy, or is your son competing with 10 dogs? Like is he in there and he's the alpha dog, or is he just a chihuahua trying to survive? And you'll
Yeah.
know, like you'll know.
Yeah, like if your son shoot the ball, it look like it's gonna shatter the backboard. Yeah,
You know,
that's not normal.
yeah, and unfortunately, even if you see if it's two competing teams and they like really really good, you could tell there's some kids on the court that's super nice and some kids are just they're role players and that's great. But then that role player, that parents say, you know what, son, we gotta go to this academy because this academy is gonna get you better. And then they got to invest the money and they got to be real. And then nowadays with this economy, people are not trying to spend no money. They just want the quick fix. They just want a tournament, and then they go from the high level to the mid
Mhm.
level. So Johnny's at the mid level. Now they go down to a lower level, and now Johnny getting 50. And you wasn't getting 50 when you was playing with the dogs. You was getting 2 and 2.
Right, right.
So you ain't a 50-point player. Like you getting 2 and 2.
In
So
time.
yeah, so you gotta be honest that and the parents you gotta be willing to take that swallow that pill. Say, hey, it's time to stop all this playing. Let's go and let's go get some work in. Let me film you. Let's look at your jump shot. Let's see what it look like in slow motion. Let's see where your
Right.
elbows at. Let's see where your follow throughs at. Let's see how fast you're doing it. Coach, you said 12 seconds. Man, I ain't never ran a 12-second sprint in my life. We're doing 9 or 10. We're doing girls 10, boys 9. You can't do 9, sit your ass down.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, sir. That's a
Mhm.
fact.
Yeah.
You was being
Oh
nice, coach.
man.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
because
Okay. All right. So yeah, I wanted to definitely see one more question before I'm finished. But what truth about development do players and parents need to hear? This is why everybody answer for everybody before we get this.
I'm gonna start. The truth they need to hear that they have to be consistent and the crap is hard. It ain't easy. You hear all these catchphrases. Nah, get your ass in the gym. Get with
Mm,
somebody you can trust that knows the game, and it's hard. It's hard. It's a grind. It's a marathon. If you sprint to the goal, you ain't gonna make it. This is the hardest. To me, it's an argument all the time. Oh, baseball's the hardest sport. You gotta hit that ball going 100 miles per hour. Man, listen. I don't know if I'm being biased, but basketball to me maybe soccer is second. Basketball is the hardest sport to play. You're going up and down, somebody on your ass, somebody in your face. You got to shoot this ball in this cylinder that two balls can go in. You're sweating. You got the crowd on top of you. You got your parents on top of you. You got to use both hands. Then you go in transition and playing defense. It's like instantaneous. It's like bang, 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 bang. Football is run 10 seconds. Okay, we got a huddle. It's hard. Basketball is hard, and you have to you got to put honest work in. You got to put honest work in, and you have to develop. All these games we playing, wrong answer. Every weekend, wrong answer. Wrong answer. If you're not in the gym, honing your craft, getting your work in, it ain't gonna happen. Period. It's hard. It's hard. And you
mm,
gotta
yeah, definitely hard.
Yeah. And I would have to say I'm probably gonna echo the same sentiments. You gotta have discipline. You gotta be consistent. You have to be willing to put in the extra time, you know. Um, like just speaking to, the truth about it, like with Coach Ron, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, got the kids shooting shots, before the school bell. Yeah, that's not easy work, you know. Yeah, you would rather probably be in the bed an extra 45 minutes to an hour and 15, you know. So yeah, you got to make sacrifices, you know what I mean? So your sacrifice plus your discipline, plus your goal setting and being honest with your development and how you're developing, monitor, okay, am I getting better? Am I getting faster? Am I getting stronger? You have to learn how to, as an athlete, you have to learn how to evaluate yourself. You know what I mean? You're with you all the time. You should know if you're getting faster. You should know if your handle is getting better. You should know if you're starting to knock down more jumpers or not. It's a game that you're here doing. You're playing it. So the proof is gonna be right here. If you go in, you get the extra shots in. If you dedicate to taking the 15-foot shots and then working your way back to the 3-point line, then all that stuff is gonna fall in line to come together, I think. So
Mm,
stay consistent,
It,
stay the course.
that word that both you guys said, consistency.
Hmm.
That word is so heavy, heavily used. in basketball today because without it, without the consistency of all the things you guys said, hitting open shots, or not even hitting the shots, but the efforts and, you know, every time you step on that hardwood, you know what I mean? You have to have the same energy. No matter, you could be the best player in the world. Michael Jordan, let's talk about Jordan. He brought every day, every game, the same level, which is what? Consistent with his energy level, his play. You know what I mean? I'm not even talking about being able to hit all the shots or all of that, but on his consistent level of play every game was impeccable. That's why I call him the GOAT because there was no change in how he went about each game. You understand? And then every little documentary I seen on him, he always had that same way and that same swag at practice. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, consistency is the only thing that I'm gonna leave in here. You know what I mean? Because without it, dude, you know, and that's not just basketball, life too, bro. You know what I mean? I go to work every day. I want to get paid, right? So I got to make sure my level of work is high. Every day I got to make sure I get, all the documents, prepared and everything for the closings. You know what I mean? Like I got to make sure all that stuff is ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I got to be consistent because the attorneys are waiting for me to make sure that gets done, right? So if I want to be the top basketball player or one of the best basketball players, I got to make sure that every day that I do the same thing, the repetitions and everything consistently the same every day, every night. Like you said, I got up for how many years, Ronald? Five, six
Yeah,
years?
5 6 years, a long time.
5 o'clock for 5 to 6 plus years. Almost every other day, we were in the gym.
Mm,
People always, oh, your kids are good. Your kids are this. How? They thought that they just woke up and they were good. No, dude. We were consistently every day getting up, working out with Ramsey's at LA Fitness. Some days, if it wasn't him, we were going to Coach Randy getting some workout in. 5 o'clock in the morning,
mm,
every day, it was
Mhm.
something. You see what I'm saying? So that word consistency is all I'm gonna say, brother.
mm.
That's it.
Okay.
That's all you need to be is consistent at your craft. That's it. And the energy level is everything.
Thank you guys for all your insight regarding that. I just got a small one here. I just wanted to say it takes time. It doesn't happen fast. It develops in time. It's just not quick. That's one of the things I wanted to say.
You
All
know,
right, that's
and
that's true. Time is everything.
right.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you start developing and you start connecting with your body and you start telling your body, yeah, let's make sure we get the form just right. Consistently telling you that with each shot, with each rep, that consistency is going to help your game get better. It
That's
just
it.
it just takes the discipline to execute the consistency.
Yeah, but Ronald, you hit it on the head. Time is everything. Everybody
Yeah, it's
wants
time.
everything right away, but
Quick,
it's
quick,
not like that.
fast.
Yeah,
Yep.
everybody wanted like this, like it was yesterday. Nah, man, it take years. It take years upon years to get where. I'm gonna just talk about my boys. It took them years to get to where they at, and they still gotta be consistent where they at now to get what they want at the University of Florida. They still gotta be consistent
Yeah.
in what they're doing just to be on the team. They have to be. It's a
Mm.
given. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand this. You guys want to play in the NBA, but guess what? No matter how often they're on TV, it's still a damn job. You got to come to work and do the work.
Mm.
But
Yep. All right, so definitely, I was definitely happy to hear all of that, and hopefully, all the parents and everybody that's listening to this podcast today thought it was great. Definitely want to let everybody know thank you. And to all the parents, just want to let you know that where you can see this podcast, you can see it on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and just remember to stay off the bench. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, gentlemen.
The bench.
Much love, much respect.
All right.
Blow the
Yes,
whistle.
sir. Much respect, much respect.
Ah.